Hello, my name is Simmer Sky. Happy Halloween! Today we are going to be building a haunted mansion, and actually we're going to be building the Haunted Strahd Mansion. So I decided I was going to rebuild, Vladdy Daddy's home, and I really wanted to do something spooky and dark. It could almost be probably the Goth's home, realistically, and my inspiration was a real-life house. Now, I do this pretty frequently. I have a whole series now called Copy Paste where I take real life houses and try to make them in The Sims. But most of the time when I'm doing that, it's usually a relatively newer build. It's usually a suburban style home. But this home is actually an old home from the United States. It is in Minnesota, and it was built in 1872. I will show you some of the photos as we do the interior because I actually did mirror kind of the bottom floor plan and some of the rooms after the real home just because I liked how it looked and it felt very on par with this style of home. Like it was characteristic of the home. So I decided to go with it and I thought it was really cute. So we did do that. But as we're doing the exterior here, I am working from the photo. I will show it now. The IRL home has 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms and is 3,770 square feet. I actually found this home while I was looking for inspiration for my Not a Vampire's House build, which if you haven't seen that build, go check it out. It's very cute. I really like how that one turned out as well. But this one had a more spooky look, and I thought, you know what, this does look like it may be a vampire's house. So I decided to put it aside, and when I was starting to feel like a little bit spooky, as October started to roll around, I decided we would do this as a haunted mansion. I haven't built one yet since I got paranormal, so I decided we would do that. And I really don't like Vlad's house. It just seems like awkwardly shaped, and I don't know. So I decided I would do another home for him. Again, like I said, I thought about doing this for the Goth's house. It probably would suit them pretty well, but I didn't think that it could be haunted. The Goths don't seem haunted to me. You know what I mean? Like they just seem like snooty and rich, but like dark colors and old money, you know? But this didn't, this screamed haunted. So I decided that instead of giving this to them, I would do this for Vladdy Daddy and let him, have a new nice home. I will say there's a lot more than just the vampires pack in here. Again, I have the paranormal stuff because it is a haunted mansion. I do end up having a seance table in here and a couple other items from paranormal. I do have I believe I have some of the stuff from Realm of Magic as well. I can't remember what, but I think I included at least something from all of those packs. So if you don't have those, I apologize, but you probably could get along without them. I definitely will say this has probably been one of my favorite houses to do, and after doing this one, I've decided that I think I'm going to do like a project a month, like a big project, a big mansion a month, because this was just so fun to. I actually started this house in the beginning of October. I drew it out on graph paper and then started building it about the 7th, I believe, of October, and it was just so fun to watch all of it slowly come together. I think in total I had about 7 or 8 hours of work. I did the shell in one sitting, and then I did the exterior and some of the landscaping, and then slowly the interior came together as well. I will say the interior seemed like it took longer to do than the exterior, oddly. But I'm going to actually show the photo again now that we're getting close to the finish point here so that you can see kind of what I'm working towards now that we're almost there. And I think the hardest part about this build actually was that upper porch area, or like that balcony up top in the front. I could not figure out how to make that work, especially with the roofs. I couldn't get it to not clip the roof line, and I messed with it and messed with it and messed with it, and finally I just gave up and decided, okay, screw it, it's just not going to be usable space, and I ended up just putting a platform there, and I'm not upset about that, actually. I thought I would be, but you know what? It is what it is. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices. But I really wish roofs were easier to work with because I run into clipping problems all the time. And while I'm obviously not the best of builders, I feel like they should be easier to fix, or at least easier to identify what the problem is. And especially when you have rooms clipping or roofs clipping on the interior, because the game is confused about what your rooms are. But we're just about done here with the roof line, so we're going to move to the landscaping. I will say I went a little bit crazy with landscaping, but I do that pretty frequently. Like that's pretty pretty characteristic of me. I did do a deep dive into debug, so I do find a bunch of debug items as well for this build, and if you have not seen previous videos, I will be incorporating debug items into my builds from here on out pretty much because I like them. I have figured out how to get to the catalog without a whole lot of difficulty, and I think I have figured out where most things are, and I am more patient now with myself in figuring out, you know, how to maneuver the whole thing. So I also have memorized the cheats, which was the hardest part, I think. I know that like the catalog is confusing, but I feel like if you figure out generally where stuff is, I think the hardest part is memorizing the cheats. So I did that, and I will be using it more often now. For the record, the cheats are bb.show hidden objects and bb.show live edit objects. So there you go. And then I think what's the one for jobs? bb.ignore career entitlements, something like that. I don't know, but that very helpful to know. Very helpful to know those tricks and those cheats. Oops, there's a quick glance of what I did up above the porch there. I made it a patio and then just put solid wood over the top of it, so you really can't see it. I wish you could get to that, but honestly, in the floor plan, it wouldn't have worked anyway, so kind of is what it is. I went through debug. See, I'm going through debug now. Look at me. And I'm pulling out gravestones, stuff like that to make the space look more cohesive with the space. And I really love some of the items I found. Like that big dead rose bush is helpful. I really like that like maroon plant thing. It almost looks like a monstera, but it's not because it's purple. And I don't think monsteras come in purple. I would know. And then here on this front porch, we're just going to get a little like dining table, and in the IRL home, there is a dining table there. I will say, apart from the curb appeal of the home, the IRL home that is, I feel like the rest of the exterior is pretty underwhelming. Like the photos of the back are kind of underwhelming. The only like landscaping feature I really liked was all of the plants here at the bottom of that upper balcony. You can kind of see it in just a second off to the left of the screen there, but I really liked that feature. I thought it was really cute to have the big windows there and you looking out onto plants and kind of probably off onto the property. So I made sure to include that here, and I like how it turned out. Let's also pop some of the real life photos of the home real quick here. Here is a very quick sneak peek of what that front sitting space is going to be before we move back to the kitchen. As you can see here in this photo, the kitchen is far more modern in real life than what the house looks like it would have. So I decided to instead keep with the, character of the home and go with a more Victorian style kitchen. So I do use a lot of the stuff from the Vampires pack for the kitchen. However, I do keep with that like white theme. So the cabinets are white and the wood around is relatively light as well. But I do keep with the white theme. But we have to keep it with the more Victorian style. We have to be true to the home. At least that's how I was feeling when I was doing this. I also took the bottom floor layout from what I believed the house looks like in the actual photos. I wasn't 100% certain just because it's kind of difficult to tell what the floor plan of a home is just from photos, but I think for the most part I got it pretty spot on. I think correct me if I'm wrong, and I will actually in this video I will post a link to the pages that I was looking at for the home. If you have an opportunity, I really think you should take a look at it. It's very pretty, and even though it is updated, it's still got a very spooky charm to it, and I think it's worth looking at, especially if you like building more spooky Victorian style homes in The Sims. And I've been in that mood for October, and I feel like that's relatively understandable, right? It's the spooky months. We gotta get into that spooky mood. I really wanted to use all of the different cabinet positionings in here. I really love how that is an option in The Sims, that you can have different cabinets in the same swatch, just like different positions. It's very unique. I like that, and I will continue to say that over and over, I'm sure, because it continues to baffle me, and I love that there are a couple of different types of cabinetry that really have nice swatches for those. Not all of them. Some of them are kind of lame, but there are a couple that are pretty nice and I use relatively often. So we are pretty much done with the kitchen. We're just going to get some little cobwebs and things in here, make the space look like it hasn't been used in a while. This is Vlad's home. Vlad does live here, obviously, in my save, but Vlad does also have an adopted daughter. So I decided to incorporate that. I have a couple of, bedrooms upstairs in this home, but I did include one that is a little bit more adult, a little more teenage girl room, I guess. Here is that front room here. Again, I'm going to pop the photo on the screen so you can kind of see what I'm going towards. Like I said, some of the rooms in the real life home were left in their relatively original state as opposed to being renovated. So I decided to try to keep with the feel of those rooms that were left original because they really suited the Victorian style home. And I don't really do rooms like this very often, I don't think. I really usually ground my sitting rooms with TVs. So it was kind of interesting to build a space that is not focused around a television and has like multiple different little smaller seating areas as opposed to like a big sectional, which is also something I do pretty frequently. So that was pretty interesting. And again, in the real life home, there are lots of different seating areas, at least in the photos that I saw from this website. As per usual, the dimensions are a little bit different in The Sims because, we're on the grid system. And I didn't love how spread out all of this was. So instead, I pull the couch forward eventually and then replace that little table in the back with a piano. And I like how that looks. But now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have done the organ thing that came with vampires. As you can see, though, for the interior of this home, we're going to keep with the theme that was kind of in the real life home. That's the green and the light brown. I will say the colors in the real life home, maybe it's the lighting, maybe it's just how the actual space looks, but it's giving baby puke or baby poop. So I'm glad that those are not the color swatches that we have in The Sims, but it's not quite spot on. But I went with what we've got, for The Sims. Going to test out some final little seating options for this little nook back here before I'm finally just going to give up and throw a piano over here. I thought this would look nice, and it may still be a good idea to have a little seating spot there, especially you could take your coffee and sit there and look out at the dead area around. I don't know. The world isn't necessarily pretty. There actually are pretty spots. Let me take that back. There are very cute spots and very picturesque locations in this world, but they're more spooky, picturesque, and creepy, but kind of a vibe look, you know what I mean? Less pretty in the same sense as Sulani is pretty, or Snowy Escape is pretty. I guess it's not Snowy Escape. What's the Mount Kobaradi? You know what I mean? So it's maybe not the place you want to sit and have your coffee, but I feel like it's just a nice spot. You could definitely put a seating area back there and replace the piano. But there are also so many different seating areas in this room. You really don't need that. I'm really struggling with finding the perfect table to go here because I wanted to put something on the table, but then I was struggling with doing that because if you size down a dining table, whatever you put on it stays at the height that the original dining table was, right? So I didn't love that, but it's okay, it works. And there we go, there's our piano, and we're just gonna throw some of the vampire art up here. There's a lot of vampire art, but I didn't really want to put Vlad right here. First of all, it's Vlad's house, so I feel like it was kind of odd to put Vlad at the top of his mantle. Maybe not. Maybe Vlad is a little egotistical like that. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. But I do put Vlad eventually in here. I have the portrait of Vlad. I also wanted to make this house function off the grid, so I'm 99.9% certain I got all of the candles that were not candles, all of the lights that would take power and electricity. I think. I did my best. If I didn't, I apologize, but I did. Eventually, I decided that's what I wanted to do, and I stopped putting in the regular lights. after I made that decision. So I hope I got everything. Here we're gonna, oh, okay, we're gonna switch over, but I did do a cute little like photo wall there, and there's a lot of different items there. That's where I think some of the Realm of Magic stuff is. I believe the little like book that's on the wall might be Realm of Magic. Here is this dining room. Again, we're gonna keep with the green color scheme, but I will eventually change the wallpaper on this room. I was kind of going for like a academia vibe almost. Like I really wanted like dark, rich wood tones in here. I mean, most of the house is that, but that's kind of the vibes I end up going with. And the wallpaper that ends up in here, I feel like really just brings that together, and it really screams old Victorian style home to me. And as do the curtains we end up going with. They're a little bit more modern, I guess. And actually, I think they're base game. But they look a little bit more modern and a little less old and dingy. But they still look kind of old money. You know what I mean? We're going to get some paintings around the space. I really like these. I didn't even know that they had faces on them because the swatch that you always see is the roses. And I rarely use them because the frames are a little much. Here we're just gonna get a little half bath, nothing too fancy. I really like how this bathroom looks too. I don't love that it's a diagonal wall to get in here, a diagonal door, but you can still get in. It still functions just fine. But I don't know. It seems like it would be a tight space in real life. But I guess for The Sims it's fine, especially since you can have a 3-tile bathroom and have it work just fine. So, and you can have a 3-tile bathroom with a shower in it, and it'll function. There were a lot of different off-the-grid lights. I really like them, but a lot of them still have that like spooky look to them. I feel like most of them feel spooky, and that may not have been the goal, but that's what it feels like. I love this table from Paranormal. It's so stinking cute. I love the Paranormal stuff pack. Oh, is that Paranormal? No, that's not Paranormal. That's the City Living maybe pack. I can't remember. I got them at the same time, I think. So I'm confused. Here is our little seance room. I really like how this room turns out. It's not like dark and spooky, and I've done a couple of seance rooms now, and most of the ones I've done are a little more spooky, darker, and this one's kind of light and cheery almost. I mean, it's not necessarily cheery because it's still, you know, a seance room, but I feel like it's warmer, more inviting than, you know, like the one I put in my seance saloon, because that one's like dark and spooky, and this one's like, you know, creamy, lighter. Maybe we're trying to channel nice ghosts in this one as opposed to evil ghosts. I don't know. You do you with your gameplay. What do you guys do? Do you use the seance table? What is your focus when you do that? If you ever use the seance table. Also, I have another question. So in the Paranormal pack, obviously you have Godfrey, this dude in this painting, and there are 2 paintings of him, the post-mortem and the pre-death paintings. First of all, which one does the ghost come out of? I mean, I would assume it's the post-mortem, but does it matter which one you put up? I haven't done enough gameplay with haunted houses yet, so I'm very curious about how that works. But I hope to use this one. I hope to use this. I am currently playing in my personal Let's Play a ghost hunter, and I'm hoping, or a paranormal investigator, and I'm hoping that I can either have Vlad call her, or I'm gonna, you know, kick Vlad out of his house, and we're gonna move into this one, and I'm gonna get rid of the ghosts, or do whatever the gameplay is with the haunted mansion. I just want to know what it is, and I didn't have a plan for this sim, my heir, so I decided we were gonna do this for, you know, Spooktober. Here we are. We're just going to do the 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms up here. I did not have any inspiration really for this upstairs. I did look through the photos of the real life home, and the bedrooms are cute, but generally they weren't my vibes. And they also had some features that I probably couldn't have achieved in The Sims, so I decided to do my own thing, and I'm not mad about it. I like how it turns out. I also am very impressed with my floor plan skills, because when I was doing this, I had no clue how the rooms were going to look. I did map out the shell on graph paper, but I decided I was just going to wing the floor plan. And I was looking at it, and I have to be honest with you, for a hot minute I was like, this is going to be the worst build I've ever created. And honestly, I think it might be one of the best. I'm not gonna, go out on a limb and say it is the best, because I don't know about that, but I think it's up there. Maybe it is the best. I don't know. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So we have this hallway out to that little upstairs balcony that I was talking about earlier that has the little landscape feature-y thing down below. And then through those double doors is our primary suite. And I really like how the primary suite turns out too. It's very dark and spookier dark, and I feel like that's the reason why I feel like it could be the goth house. This here is the top of the stairs. From the upstairs, there's another set of stairs that goes up here, and we have another bathroom and another bedroom, and then you can see that ladder, and that ladder takes us up to the tower that you can see from the front of the build. The bedroom that is on this floor is what I imagined the adopted daughter from in my save file would live there. At least that's what I assumed. It's a lot of stairs to climb, but the other bedrooms downstairs are a toddler's bedroom and a set of twins. I mean, she could sleep in the twins' bed, I guess, or even in the primary suite, since I did do Vlad's super creepy downstairs basement area. I did do that again because the original has that, so I figured we would keep with that theme. I will say I really like how this upstairs spot turns out. It's pretty useless. I mean, I really don't have any skill building items here. It's pretty much just decorative. But I really like how it turns out, though. And I really liked using all of the vampire features, like all the cracks and all the holes and the webs and stuff like that. I really don't add those to my houses, even if I'm doing rags to riches. I really don't put that in. So I really liked having fun and adding those in. This is that little upstairs attic space from the tower that you can see. I do end up coming back in and switching the orientation here, and I think I end up getting an easel eventually. I think I just switch the little table, the table next to the chair and the book. In here, this is where that adopted daughter I figured would be living. I really like the colors in here. I really wanted to use the carpet trick instead of a rug, and I intentionally made this bedroom big enough that I could do that, and instead of making it 2 bedrooms, I did it 1. So I could do the rug underneath the bed, and I really like how it turned out. I feel like it's super cute, and I like that it brings in another color. I knew I wanted to do the tan, the creamy color, but it also brings in that red tone. So I get away with some other red items and accent pieces here in this build, and I like it. So I mentioned earlier that I built this in different sittings, and that's pretty frequent with bigger builds. Most simmers do that, I feel. Doing the interior took me so much longer than I expected, and I mean that I should have known that it would take me a long time, especially since there are so many rooms to this, and it's a Victorian style, and I feel like Victorian homes usually have more detail to them, more clutter, more decor, that kind of stuff. I did this room first. I don't know why, but when I came up here and I was doing I did the landing, at the second floor, and then I did the landing at the third floor, and I just did all the bathrooms, and I was like, let's do this one. It's relatively simple. I have a general idea of what I'm gonna do, and I did this one, and I could not get the energy to do the rest, and I just did 1 room at a time, and it took me forever. And I feel like that's gonna happen with big builds maybe, but how do you keep stamina? That's what I need to know. The simmers who do this all the time, who post daily videos or almost daily videos, or have been posting even 2 videos a week. How do they keep that up for weeks, months, years? I mean, obviously they're probably doing this for money, and they're able to do this all day long if they want to. But even then, I feel like even then you'd get so tired of just working and simming constantly. I don't know, it's a great game, don't get me wrong. So maybe it's just I need to get into the creative groove more often. So we are now into the basement. This is where I imagine Vladdy Daddy would be. The original, it's weirdly laid out. We're just gonna pop in a bunch of the items from the Vampires pack that I want to get in here. So excuse me while I just drop a bunch of random items in here. So I wanted something a little bit less all over because the original just seems odd to me. However, I do want to say the real life home has a weird dungeon, like crawl space, not crawl space. I don't know. Let me pop the photo up here and we can talk about it. Okay, so here is the real life basement tunnel thing. I am so intrigued by like secret hidden tunnels and things in houses. I'm sure that there is a less than awesome reason why that home has a tunnel. Just based on the fact that I know it was built in the 1870s and in the United States. But aside from that, I always think that it's super cool to have like little sneaky, creepy basement areas, you know. So when I saw that this house had one in real life, I was like, oh, absolutely, we are using this as Vlad's house. I feel like that was a real selling point. So this ladder to the downstairs basement is actually in a sneaky spot. Like I said, I like doing sneaky little like basement things. So the ladder for that basement area is actually underneath the first floor staircase. If you walk past the staircase as you're going towards maybe that back door or towards the kitchen, there's actually a sneaky door right there, and through that door is a ladder underneath the staircase. It is functionable. I checked. I did have to do something sneaky with a debug item. Is it a debug item? I can't remember if it's a debug item or if it's a decoration from Snowy Escape, but I had to use that so that you couldn't see it from, like, couldn't see the ladder from, like, walking upstairs. So I did have to do that, but I really like how it turns out, and it looks super cool, and it's very sneaky, and you wouldn't know it was there unless, you know, you knew it was there or you saw the door. All right, so here is the twin children's room. Like I mentioned, the Vlad in my save has adopted a daughter, but I figured, you know, this house is older. In theory, he's been here for generations, or this house has been here for generations. So I decided that I would keep having multiple bedrooms in here. The original Vladimir house, or whatever the name of the house is called, the original had lots of bedrooms in it. So I decided that we would do that. And I don't know, like The Shining, the creepy twins, like, I don't know, creepy twins are just like a thing of Halloween, right? And so I decided to go with that and have twin beds here. I also feel like that's very Victorian, that's very realistic. When I was in Scotland over the summer, there were a lot of twin beds in rooms like this, where you'd have two twin beds in a single room in like a castle or a manor, or, you know, all the places that we took tours of, palaces and castles and stuff like that. I recommend it. Also, by the way, while we're on the topic, I loved Scotland, and I loved all of the castle tours. You really can't get bored of castle tours, and maybe that's just me, but they were so freaking fun. I loved it. Fun fact, actually, before we move to the primary suite up here, there is the Holyrood Palace in Edinburgh, Scotland, and it's one of the first places in Scotland that Queen Elizabeth was laid to lie in state, you know, where so people can like pay their respects. And we were there just like a month or two before she was there, and part of me kind of wishes that we'd gone a little bit later so that, you know, we could have been there for it. But how would I have known? How would I have known when Queen Elizabeth was going to die? I couldn't have. So that's a little sad. That would have been kind of coincidental that if we had been there at the same time. But in Holyrood Palace, there is a room where one of the Queen, I think it was one of Queen Elizabeth the First, I can't remember, one of someone's secretary, some queen's secretary, was supposedly murdered in a like drawing room off of her bedroom by her husband, because he thought that the secretary and the queen were having an affair. That husband was also the queen's cousin. Gross. Also, what's up with like old like 1500s monarchs being 6 years old or like younger? what? And they were just like prone to manipulation, obviously, because it's a child. Like, that's probably why it was a thing. But still, that seems ridiculous. No one was like, hey, maybe we don't put in this 6-year-old boy as our monarch. You know, that's just me. That's just my thoughts. But what do I know? What do I know? So back to the build, now that I've gone on a tangent for the 1000th time. This is the primary suite. This is the room that really gave me Bella Goth vibes. Like, it's very gothic looking. It's the black and the red, and I feel like she would enjoy this space. So maybe next time I'll rebuild, I'll renovate Bella's home, or I'll just completely rebuild the Goth family home. That might be fun. I think we are just going to change the wallpaper in here, and then this room is going to be done. No, it's still too bright. Maybe we go back and we change these curtains. Just kidding. That's right. So we change these curtains. It really gives the room a much darker feel, especially after I go through and delete the big lights for the room. And I love it. I love the dark vibes in here, especially with just like, I mean, it's a haunted house, right? It has to be dark and spooky, and then having it be off the grid and without a bunch of lights, I feel like it just makes it so much better. Over here, this is going to be a toddler's room. Of course, we are going to keep with the rich dark tones in our woods, and then we're going to go with a cute pink. I love using pink as toddler room colors. It just, to me, pink screams baby and kid. Even if, like, it's, to me, pink isn't a gendered color. Okay, let's start by saying that. I just feel like soft pink is just a very like kid color. It's very sweet and unassuming, and I really like that, and I feel like it suits toddlers very well. I do not end up going with that white color on the wall in the wallpaper, but I love that with the white swatch. I really don't use this wallpaper very often. I will be using that in the future because I really liked it. Generally though, this room is going to be done. I really struggled to figure out what I wanted to put in this corner, and I'm fairly certain I ended up just chucking a chair here and calling it a day because I didn't know what else to do. And then now we're going to be moving to the office space just around the other side of the toddler's room. Again, we're going to keep with the green color scheme that's downstairs and the dark wood tones. Super simple, nothing crazy. We're going to get a cute little like sitting area in this corner by the window, and then we have that chest table on the other side. Generally though, this build is almost done. We have just a couple more minutes left as we wrap up here. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you have an amazing holiday, an amazing Halloween. If you celebrate the Halloween, make sure that you are safe if you're going to go out and trick or treat or have a party or, you know, all that fun stuff. Just be safe out there. Make sure that, you know, be aware of your surroundings and all that fun stuff. Halloween is very fun until someone gets hurt, I feel like. So just stay safe and enjoy yourself. These last few minutes, you're just going to see me add some final touches, some more holes in the wall, some more cracks, and some more spider webs, stuff like that. So the screenshots will be rolling in just a minute. Thank you so much again for joining me. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already. I put out new videos on Mondays and Thursdays. Have a great rest of your day. Sending you all of the positive energy, all the good vibes, and happy simming.